the music on. All right, let's do this. All right, that went semi-smoothly.
It was very calming intro music.
The countdown. All right, so we're just the
platform.
two of us.
This is exciting, a new platform.
Yeah, so a lot of the folks I've been watching use StreamYard. And if we ever get into actually getting people in the chat and stuff, the chats will pop up as pop up as like banners like this. They'll pop in down there.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. Yeah, so we'll just roll with it a little bit. It's super easy to use. It's all browser based. The audio and video settings are superior to any of the other stuff we've been using. So
yeah, like we said, even manages to make the MacBook terrible camera look okay.
Yeah. So what's your recap of your week just in general, kind of maybe without video game and
just working, staying busy with teaching the class that I'm doing at the school here and development stuff. So yeah, been real good. Finally getting warmer. Looking forward to the spring.
Yeah. Cooled off quite a bit here and then got warmer. So what about Start Code? Kind of is that kind of just on hiatus for a bit, or you still got somebody running part of that?
Yeah, no, Start Code, unfortunately, COVID won as far as that goes. It's been a year. It's looking like summer camps would be iffy again, for a second straight summer.
Right.
So I've just chosen to focus on, teaching at the university and doing the development work. And I'm enjoying that. It's fun. It feels like something new and different. So it's been a good change.
Yeah, it's cool. Good to have a set of skills that.
Yeah, definitely worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, we've been just kind of hunkering down here a little bit. Things are not as crazy for my wife at the hospital, and it's almost like we're in that stretch toward the end of the school year right now. Spring break is in a couple of weeks. We got our anniversary coming up on the 5th, and
cool.
Anyway, Reese was able to get us a killer deal on the Portofino Portofino Bay.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
I mean, a ridiculous deal, plus free tickets to the park there. So like the whole thing is going to cost, if we go out to eat at 2 nice restaurants, it's going to cost like $200.
Do they have, you said, new stuff at the Harry Potter land?
Yeah, they added a Hagrid roller coaster or something. So, and I haven't been to Universal in years. So we're kind of looking forward to it.
2 or 3 years ago when Diagon Alley was open and the Gringotts Bank was open at that point, but I don't think there was a Hagrid thing. So yeah, that sounds new. It was cool. And then I love the Hulk, like I said, the Hulk roller coaster and the Spider-Man ride.
And those parks are so close together that it's easy to hop between them.
Yeah.
It's really easy to hop between them. So you can hit both parks in one day pretty easily, especially if you know what you're doing. And where you're going.
That'll be fun.
So, yeah. So looking forward to that. That gives me a 4-day weekend with 2 short weeks on either side, and then a week of spring break. So that's pretty nice.
Excellent.
All right. Well, we had hoped that maybe Mr. Bondi or Mr. Allman would pop in before we got to the news segment. But that is not the case. Oh, wait, we've got somebody. Thank you.
It out in like like 10 seconds. I swear to God. I was like,
Easy
wait
to
a minute,
use.
we're doing a whole different thing now. Oh, fuck. And I'm not set up. And then I go into Telegram. I'm like, oh, there's a link there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So here we
Awesome.
are. Good. So we were
Cool.
just about to do this.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's the news.
So I'll let you guys start with whatever you thought was newsworthy this week in any form of entertainment, video games or movies, shows, whatever was noteworthy to you. There's a lot going on. So
I was excited to read the article I think I sent to you guys about the Schneider cut, right, of the upcoming Justice League movie. That seems like it's going to be pretty promising.
yeah, that's got a ton of press and a lot of people excited about it. You familiar with that, Dave?
No, I am not. Justice League stuff, I barely follow it. Every once in a while, like one of my friends is like, oh, by the way, Gamora, not really dead. Like that's like the end of it. And we're like, oh, I'm like, wait, who? Oh, the green one. Yeah.
Wait, I think you're in the wrong
Avengers.
universe.
Don't
I know. I'm
mix
in the
your
totally
universe.
wrong universe. Hang on.
But I mean, like we talked about previously,
I know. We got Marvel DC guys. We can go on all day long. I know.
well, part one of that whole thing was Batman versus Superman,
Okay.
which I liked. I think I talked about that before. I liked that. And then part two is Justice League, and I didn't like that at all.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all.
I get
So
that door open now. I hate that. Hang on.
So going to be some real magic, in my opinion.
It's ugly, man. It's ugly.
I don't think it's impossible. Like, obviously, I mean, this guy wouldn't spend a big chunk of his life doing it because I guess he originally got pulled off of the set, right? Because something happened with his daughter or something. Somebody got sick or passed away, and he walked away
his
from.
daughter passed away, and so
Okay.
it was a really she was like 20, so it was a really tragic thing for the family.
Yeah.
And then he was starting to fight with the higher ups at Warner
Right.
Brothers, and then he just his heart, and his wife also was helping work on it, or also works in the industry.
Yeah.
And they just realized I don't have what it takes to fight right now and also be there for my family. So he bowed out. And they brought in Joss Whedon and did a bunch of rewrites and some reshoots. And the article said that the movie was roughly 80%. I don't know if it's possible, but roughly 80% different from what his original idea was. So this new one will be 4 hours long. So maybe I'll watch it in like two halves, right? Could be like two movies. And they're going to tell more of a story. So we'll see. Because it did just kind of devolve into a really bad alien beat 'em up at the end. Like there was kind of no.
And they must have done some reshoots for this Snyder cut because
they did.
The Joker's going to be in it, and
now how much we'll see. But they did additional recuts. More shooting, and he just basically said, all right, if you give me the power or the political power to do whatever I want with this, I'll do it. And they said, okay, go ahead. So
it's created a pretty big buzz, so I'm excited to just see what it is, and it'll kill 4 hours of time anyway, and then it can't be worse than the original Justice League. It was so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. Anyway, so what about you, Dave? Anything that caught your interest this week?
Media wise, not really. No. I mean, I have news wise. I mean, we've got whole other like what you've been watching sections, but like as far as news goes now, I mean, I haven't like noticed anything. I did discuss with various friends of mine your issue now with the franchise. Not to be mentioned ever again, I guess.
No, you can talk about it.
I mean, I don't know what we're going to do about this. This is a major problem. I brought it up with those guys. I was like, what do you guys think about this like whole controversy thing? Like, they're like, what controversy? So then I got to explain the whole thing to them. I'm like, well, then, who, like from The Mandalorian, they're like, oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. And like my friend Dove was basically, He was like, she shouldn't have tweeted that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, probably not. He's
Yeah.
like, it was stupid. She shouldn't have done that. I was like, okay, all right. But you understand like the whole political thing, how like now my friend thinks that they like canceled her because she's like conservative. And he's like, well, she's just stupid. And I was like, okay, how about Pablo?
Yeah.
And then I was like, how about Pablo? Dove is like, what did he do? And I like described the whole thing. And I think I even found it for him on the phone.
Right.
And I was just like, what do you think? He's like, I don't know. They're both stupid. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So what should people do? He's like, I don't care. I don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
You do it.
Right.
Do whatever sits well with your conscience.
I was like, yeah, but they're canceling one and not the other. And now people are all confused. Is it like all about me? Because like now my buddy's quitting all this Star Wars stuff.
Well,
he's like, oh, he's stupid too. I was like, okay.
Thank you for that ringing door.
They're all stupid. Okay, fine.
Anyway,
I hope I didn't name names here about my friend, so-called friend or whatever. But he's a Star Wars fanatic too.
Yeah.
He loves the whole. He knows everything about it. It's like, but he didn't know this. He didn't know this whole story.
Yeah. I mean, objectively, outside of, kind of whatever our opinions are about it, it has created a huge, the ripples through Disney and Lucasfilm now are huge, because you got Jon Favreau now, who is freaking out a little bit because that whole Rangers of the Republic, they were deep into at least a lot of the script rights. You know what I mean? And Cara Dune was supposed to be a central figure in there. He doesn't want to recast her.
Right.
So he's talking about not only just scrapping that whole thing and replacing it with a different project. They were pretty deep into the development of season 3 of The Mandalorian, which Cara was going to show up in quite a bit. She was going to show up in a bunch of the Ahsoka Tano stuff.
It's like a gangster war or something that's going on.
Whatever you think of the fans, or whatever you think of it, there is a huge portion of fans that are really frustrated by the whole thing.
Yeah,
like really frustrated. Like they went to I don't know if you saw that. We talked about it briefly last week, but they went to that thing that Kathleen Kennedy, who's, the president of Lucasfilm at this point, she's very controversial. She's either liked or hated. And she had that video on the Oscars site where she was, the whole thing was about empowering women, independent women, and their voices. And this was like 3 days after she fired Gina Carano. So the thing got ratioed. There was like I think 100 likes and 10,000 dislikes. Like it got ratioed into oblivion, to the point where the Oscars site removed the comments and the ability to up or down vote it. Well, then people would jump to the video right next to it and continue the stuff. And you go to and now they're on like the Star Wars site doing the, the up and the down votes. It's got a lot of people really annoyed. So it's a,
and you could just write a Python bot that would let you do that all day long.
See, now that to me, that's the more fascinating part about this entire development, is like how, these kinds of like messages get sent in all sorts of different media ways. And like, it's all going on underneath the, radar, so to speak. It was just like people sort of chatting with each other about this stuff. And like, it's the whole GameStop thing. Like, you guys heard about it before I heard about it, which was like 2 days before a couple other people had heard about it, and which was like 2 days before the guys launched the plan. Right? Yeah. Maybe that was kind of the timetable of it. And then by the time we were like kind of going, what's going on with all this? It was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is
where everything is amplified, right? Everything is amplified. And, it used to be any nut can stand on a corner and yell something. Now any nut can stand on a corner and yell whatever they want, and millions of people have to listen to them, right or wrong, agree with them or not agree with them. Everything.
But all this stuff, you kind of got to go back to when the sequels were released. And again, you may have an opinion or you may not, but the reality is, like, a lot of people reacted badly to the sequels. Didn't, a lot of people didn't care for the way that, some of those characters are treated, especially Luke Skywalker. Like, it was a big deal. There was tons of talk about it on, YouTube channels and just within the fan base that people just didn't like that, you know what I mean? And a lot of the content has come out, like, people didn't like Solo. That movie actually lost money. And now we're at a point where I think the big thing that's, again, people are saying kind of shows maybe a division even within Lucasfilm is, I guess, within Lucasfilm, there was some resentment toward Favreau for bringing Luke back, because it was probably the biggest moment in Star Wars lore on the screen, since maybe going back to the prequels. And like all these people were so super happy that, okay, like someone's doing justice to the Skywalker character, so all these fans are like, because no matter what, if you go back, you can find controversy among the quotes fan base. I'm reluctant to say that some of those people are even fans, but there's a lot of controversy on what's good Star Wars content and what's not good Star Wars content. And there was virtually no arguing over The Mandalorian. Like, it was universally liked. And then there was this epic moment that sort of stole the thunder for some of the other stuff that was going on in Lucasfilm, like this new High Republic comic series and stuff like that. And they're just not, there's some people at Lucasfilm that are sort of known for, and again, this is among a certain, section of the fan base, sort of known for saying, well, if you don't like it, it's because, you're bad. We don't really care what your opinion is. If you didn't like the sequels, or if you didn't like Solo, it's because, you don't get it, or you don't appreciate the new direction of the franchise. And
you have me really thinking like deep philosophical stuff. I don't even know if you want me to bring this up. It might be completely boring people, but it's weird because like there's like an intergenerational kind of like rift here too. Mm-hmm. Right, between us older people who remember the way like Star Wars was, and like how we really, and here's the thing about Mandalorian, it wasn't like universally liked. Like my daughter's generation were all kind of like, whatever, like there's a whole segment where Disney was kind of going, well, maybe it wasn't such a good thing, and maybe we do need to actually, there's different market pressures that we're unaware of, right? I think that like there's an interesting kind of like younger, and you made this point yourself actually a couple podcasts ago, where you were like, yeah, the younger kids really like, this packet of adventures or whatever that kind of like they grew up with, and we all are kind of like, that thing sucked, and then like later on you get this other stuff happening and they're like, well, it's not like ours. And there's this kind of weird thing going on between the different experiences we had at different ages. I don't know. It just seems there's something going on there, and it's just kind of, there's something fascinating about it.
I mean, again, I don't know if it's completely generational. I think that might be part of it, but you just didn't find like, you couldn't really go anywhere and find anyone being hypercritical or even overly critical of The Mandalorian. Like, it was pretty generally well received by people who actually consumed it. And I mean, that's proof of how the toys flew off the shelves and, the merchandise and all that stuff. And actually Disney at some point considering having talks about altering Galaxy's Edge to include some of those characters. You know what I mean? Like, this is getting so popular that like the Gina Carano Black Series doll right now, because it was another thing they did is they called Hasbro and says, stop making these things. They're going for like $200 some online. People are buying them,
Oh my God.
So, I mean, all that to say, this whole thing is, again, I'm not emotional about it. My conscience is in a certain place on it. So I made some decisions. I can live a full and happy, wonderful life without consuming any, Star Wars content from Disney until at maybe some point they offer some kind of, I don't know, some kind of olive branch to say, we want to respect all the fans and all that stuff. Because a lot of that is directed at fans. It is. And you can't catch it in a thumbnail. You kind of have to go back and and follow the thing. But it is causing a bunch of waves throughout Lucasfilm. There's a lot of unrest throughout Lucasfilm, where I've even heard rumored that Kathleen Kennedy might be on her way out the door. Either she's sick of it and wants to quit, or Bob Iger is going to say, you know what, let's just get rid of her and get somebody else in here.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because they're a mega corporation and it's worth billions of dollars. So on one hand, you have the push and pull of creative types, right? You want to be precious with it and don't mess with it. Then you don't take any risks, right? And then there's no excitement. You can almost say that the latest movies were very safe, right? Episode 7 was essentially episode 4. Right.
Well, I don't know how safe it was to put a lightsaber through Han Solo, but
yeah, I mean,
that was
somebody
for
has to
our
die.
generation, though. Let's be honest. That was
which I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, in hindsight, for me personally, I didn't hate the sequels. I didn't hate them
either. I enjoyed them,
but I doubt I'll go back and rewatch any of them. Not because of some bias against Disney, but I've just never felt that like, oh, I'd really like to go back and see that, where I get the urge to go back and watch 4, 5, and 6 somewhat regularly. And even, to be honest with you, even though 1, 2, and 3 were all George Lucas, there was some stuff about those I just didn't like at all, but I chalk that up to kind of personal opinion. But I do go back and watch them periodically, because they did, even though the acting was kind of crap and the dialogue was kind of crap, they did introduce some really cool characters and some really cool pieces of the lore, like seeing Jango Fett and obviously seeing Obi-Wan when he's young. Grievous was a really cool character, anyway.
I still think Kaitis's point is on there with the plot line resembling the plot line we liked.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it's still, that's kind of in line with what I was talking about. I was kind of like, oh, I see what they did there. Okay. With Rey. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see where this is going. Okay. There's probably Luke Skywalker at some point.
Yeah.
I do remember that, and
it was wasn't even there till like the last 30 seconds, right?
Right.
All right.
And then,
I almost out. I feel like lost a bunch of weight, got in killer shape, got ready for the movies, and then he was in the last 30 seconds. And he was like, God dang it.
Doesn't say a word.
And he's in a robe. So it didn't matter. You didn't even see him anyway.
And it'd be interesting to me to see what was J.J. Abrams' reaction to. I left Luke on this mountain with his old lightsaber being held out to him, and then Rian Johnson has him just toss it over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, whatever. So anyway,
I did like that movie more though on a rewatch. I did like 8 more on a rewatch. I liked 8. I liked Luke in it. I liked Luke in it a lot.
So wait, 8. That was 8.
Yeah, the Rian Johnson one was 8.
See, out of those, the one that I can that I could sit through and watch again is 7. 8. I liked the scene where Kylo kills, what's his name, the big lizard looking dude, the bad guy. When he gets that lightsaber to turn around and cut him in half.
Oh yeah.
And they got that camera shot of it coming and going into Rey's hand, and they have the fight with the Imperial Guard and that. Yeah. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool, but and the last one to me is just so confusing. But I liked some of the stuff in there too, like them handing the lightsaber off with this new force power that we've never seen before. Whatever. But anyway, we are going to do this.
The news. We just did the news.
Shall we play a game?
Oh.
I'll let the graphic fade out before I switch so it's not there next time.
I was like, oh, we just did that. Oh.
Okay. So this week in gaming.
Well.
What'd you play, Bondi, besides Wildlands?
Nothing. That's it. I mean, what am I supposed to say? I don't have I don't have any other systems. Well, wait a minute. I do have a Sega Dreamcast I could hook up.
Oh,
that's a great system.
And every once in a while, I hook that thing up on my projector, but not this last week. But every once in a while, I do hook it up on my projector, and I play Galaxian.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We
played
Galaga.
like a remake, like an updated Galaxian. I'm trying to remember.
No, the original ones running on a like emulator off of my Dreamcast, or I'll play Bust a Move or Soul Calibur.
Some of the that Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur is like
fighting game from the Dreamcast.
And you know what sucks? If any, then I don't know if anyone's even listening. Okay, I can't tell, but like if anybody out there actually knows where I can find the cheat code again to get all the characters, please, at the very beginning. No, not just for that one character. No, every character, please, and every environment. There's like one long code. It's about 32 characters long, but you do it like whatever. I had it written down, and I can't find it anywhere. I've been looking online in all the forums and stuff, and I can find codes for like unlocking this character, unlocking that character, unlocking this environment. I'm like, okay, I want them all.
Yeah.
I worked my way through that whole game, of course, and legitimately unlocked. Well, no, I didn't.
I'm not a fighting game player in general, but I play Soul Calibur. Yeah.
Yeah. We had that thing when Reese was a kid. And I was living by myself in an apartment, and we played the crap out of the Sonic game.
Yeah.
What was that?
Set Radio was another one too that was wild on that one.
There was a really good adventure game on there, Rayman. We played that quite a bit.
That was a side scroller.
The bass fishing game, we played that like crazy. It was hilarious. It was funny because was a guy with like a pretty heavy accent that would announce everything that happened on there. And then there was a game
was like skateboarding on hoverboard.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah.
And the control scheme was decent.
Yeah.
And you could it was really kind of like open world, wasn't it?
Rode along edges of the city. Yeah. It was open world.
Yeah.
So that thing had a sweet controller.
Yeah.
The
controller's great on that thing. Yeah. Me and Paloma picked it up right away, and we were playing Gauntlet Legends for a while.
Oh yeah.
Which is not, I mean, the only thing it doesn't, how can I say this? It has the same kind of thing where it's isometric though. But the camera kind of, does it shift or I don't know. It is real 3D, which is what's kind of cool. Highly polygonal little characters or whatever, but they're still cool. And like, did I mention this on the podcast before?
So Gauntlet Legends. So it was a new title. The Dreamcast, was it? Yeah,
and you could play. Actually, you could hook up at least all 4 controllers for sure, and maybe even more with some kind of extender. And it had the same kind of gauntlet thing where like everyone had to agree to go around the corner, otherwise one person would get stuck on the other side of the screen, and then you'd all have to go back down.
Yeah,
and like have the guy come around. Yeah. So it's kind of, and it's the same thing where you pick up all these power-ups and stuff that are limited. To keep eating food all the time. There's some impossible bosses to play.
Here's one that we played and couldn't stop laughing. The Floygan brothers.
Oh yeah.
And these guys would like whack each other and stuff. And they like knock each other around and stuff.
This was a great game.
Yeah.
All this stuff, man, was animated. Oh, it's so hard to do this and do it well.
Heugel and Floigel. So yeah, we played the crap out of that
classic animation style.
So well done. So whoever did that, I can tell, just knowing that like what the technical capabilities and requirements were back in the day then to get that kind of animation into the Dreamcast, not easy. You had to they probably had to write their own compression schemes to make it work right.
Punch cards.
No, I'm just saying like they probably wrote some like some 3D compression schemes for the animation itself because it's all mesh based animation. Right. Because back then you couldn't even export like bone deformation data into a game engine.
Right.
Game engines were like, what? What?
Right.
What are you talking about? So it was either you would either do like object to object bending, so you could see like the geometry between the different joints,
Right.
or if you were doing like a mesh animation, you would have to output a series of meshes for
And, like,
elaborate.
more between
And the
them.
more elaborate the moves were, and the more subtlety, the more meshes.
Right.
So
right.
then you'd have to write a really complex compression scheme to get the actual engine to play it back. And that's the thing that's going on there. And plus that the animators are so good. Like,
Yeah.
that's the other
Yeah.
thing. I remember seeing that going, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and that was 1999, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring up
Yeah.
Gauntlet Legends. Is that what it was called, Bondi?
Yeah. It's nothing fancy. It's just well, first of all, it looks like the gameplay goes on forever. Me and Paloma got maybe like three. They have like, I think like 10 levels per segment, and there are like 20 segments. And so we got like 2 segments in, we did like 20 levels or something together. Yeah, that's it. And there's a whole bunch of different characters and there's like actually, brown characters in here too. So like there's some, no, but seriously, this is like 1990.
Did this thing have it only came with one controller, right? But you could plug in up to 3 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 ports.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that's the main level where you just go to farm health. So you can build your character up just by doing this like 30 times, which is what me and Paloma do. And there's a generator right there. You have to destroy the generator. Yeah. All right. So you got to destroy the generators right away. This level right here, I've done probably 50 times. But yeah, it's super fun. They get way more complicated towards the end, and you have to, sometimes it's hard to find the keys that you need to unlock these different areas, and you end up running around empty dungeons.
Right.
That's the only thing that sucks about the game.
Oh yeah, because you missed the key somewhere.
Yeah, and you're like, well, okay, I guess we didn't press the button in the thing where, and you end up, you end up getting all this gold, and you can spend it on crap.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Flash from the past.
But other than that, Wildlands is, whoops, I lost you guys. Wildlands is it right now. I only have time like an hour a week, maybe.
Yeah. The last
Is that
time,
us?
yeah, the last time we played here with some with all of the features turned down, on hard mode.
Check it out.
Was pretty fun. So like even just losing track of someone who they move 20 feet away from you and you don't know where the heck they went.
Where's your dead body? You're standing on top of me. Oh, okay, yeah.
So I've been enjoying that quite a bit.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, when we're bunched up together too, you're kind of seeing the game from the same perspective. It's like, if I miss Kitus flying off the cliff, I'm really sad when that happens if I'm not playing. But if I'm bunched up with Nato, I get to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens here? What do we do?
This was where we snuck into this camp and things got kind of hairy.
We couldn't figure out how to get in at first, right?
And find that spot where I dodged down the missiles in helicopter. That was pretty funny. But anyway, I'm enjoying that for a game that's 3 years old. It's
crazy, huh?
Really holds up. So
yep.
Pretty cool. I played mostly that this week, and then also played some Red Dead Online with the boys.
Is that going any smoother?
Yeah, it's a little. We've kind of got it down on how to how to group up and stuff like that.
Cool.
It's super controller friendly too. Honestly, there's a pretty strong aim assist when you go to shoot. So we played last night for a couple hours, and I played with the controller the whole time. See,
Nice.
we
Take your horse, kill your.
and it's and it's
Dang.
I don't know. I don't know if that was a player or an NPC. It looks like an NPC because if you look at the map in the lower left-hand corner, it wasn't a blue dot. So and then you go take his stuff. But there is a mix of when you go into a town, or even if you're riding around the world, you can run into live players. And we're in the town trying to buy some stuff at the general store. And somebody goes by and lassos Reese and starts dragging him through the town. They're like, what the heck? And Reese is freaking out and screaming and stuff. And the missions are pretty cool. Like the stuff that you have to do is pretty cool. Like, all the simple stuff by just go, kill these certain guys, or you may actually, there was one where there was 4 bad guys and there's 4 of us in the group. We had to, as a group, chase down this group of bad guys, lasso them off of their horse, put them on the back of our horse, and bring them back to the guy who paid us to do was paying us to do the mission. So, and that was.
And are they like shooting back at you the whole time, or what's going on?
Yeah, they were. I mean, if you catch up to them, they turn and start shooting at you. And then there's some sort of escort type missions, where you got to protect a wagon, and the bad guys come in, and you got to whack them. And it's really cool, honestly.
It looks cool.
It's a massive open world. Yeah, you can see there. You can just hop onto. Now he's just stealing this horse cart.
Okay. Well, we do that in Breakpoint all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, what has he got? Oh, he's got a 6-shooter. What are there like crazy weird weapons, or is it all just basic?
Right now, yeah, they're Western, era guns. So right now I have a pistol and a rifle, and that's basically the stuff that you start off with pretty much. But you kind of upgrade your skills, and you upgrade your horse. You can kind of customize your horse when you first get it, what it looks like, give it a unique name. And then you've got to constantly be patting, grooming, and feeding your horse to keep it happy. Or, you might be on a mission chasing some people down. Your horse starts getting aggravated and starts bucking, and it might actually buck you off if you're not careful. The physics is pretty realistic. Like you can't jump off a spot very high or you hurt yourself pretty bad. Mm-hmm. If you're flying along on your horse and you hit a rock, you're going to go flying off your horse, or if you hit one of the other people in your group. So it's fun. It's definitely for us would be worth a jump in. It's 4-player. And you create a group, but then you create a thing called a posse. And then, that lets you share resources. And,
what about different character classes? What are they?
There aren't really different character classes. As you go, you can just sort of major in different things. But I'm like level 9 right now, so.
Yeah, it's more like realism, Old West. So you're not going to have like, magic or anything like that.
Yeah.
Probably why there's not different classes so much.
Yeah.
Probably just different abilities, kind of like Wildlands, right?
But it's definitely one of those games that it's a riot to play with people that I'm not sure how much fun it would be to jump in there and play by yourself. But now Reese's
player story would be good, right? But not online.
Yeah, you don't get that with Red Dead Online if you just buy Red Dead. Yeah. Well, you get it, you just don't have access to it. And then if you go pay the whatever $60 for the full game, it just basically turns it on where you can play the original single player campaign. And now Reese has played through that 3 times.
Oh, wow.
And says it's the best story he's ever played. And Sydney's playing through it when he's not playing with us and says it's really, really good. So I'm going to do that at some point.
Yeah. My daughter's been doing that too. She's really enjoying it. She loves it.
Yeah.
but she's
So,
far too. She's hours in. It's a long story, but really good chapters in different places, and really good pacing, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So was that it? What did you play, Kitus?
I played. I got into Satisfactory. If you want to bring up video for that.
That's a PC deal.
It's on. It was originally Epic, but it's now on Steam as well. I guess it was an Epic exclusive for a while. The whole factory building genre has kind of taken off recently. Like Factorio was a game that my son and a lot of people put a lot of hours into. But that's top down. This is Satisfactory. It's a 3D world. So to me, it feels very much like No Man's Sky. As far as like you're looking at the world now, but the point of the game is actually creating factories. Like this isn't, maybe go to like their homepage because you would show more of the machinery, or skip forward in this one. But the whole point is literally building production. So you start out mining, and then you have to get smelters, and you put in conveyor belts and power supplies. And then power lines, and you gotta run lines to all your stuff. It's like it's like being a kid in a sandbox, but like with like really cool, tools and building things. And it's very friendly as far as the tutorial goes. You're learning how to build each next part you're going to need, and they give you the recipe. It is awesome, and it is a time sink, meaning that you just okay, I'll just build one more piece, or I got to go find coal now because I'm sick of having to deal with power. If I could build a coal plant, I would have all the power I need, and I don't have to keep feeding my biomass burners.
My biomass burners. Oh boy.
Yeah. I'll have to send a couple of screenshots of like my thing that I got right now. And then you got to explore this planet, right, to find the more resources, and you might run into aliens or things that are a problem, or it might kill you.
Right.
And I just got vehicles, so now I can set routes for my vehicles so I could get like an ore, like a coal plant going, and then trucks hauling the ore back and forth. And then it says there's even going to be trains and nuclear power. And
dude, you're creating an industrial nightmare. This is like the almost horrible.
But it sounds crazy. Look, he's building, right? But they really make everything simple and smooth, and it's not painful. So there that's actually a splitter, because he's producing more screws than that piece of equipment could use. So you put in a splitter, and you can feed two machines with the same output. So you also got to maximize your production, right? So Benjamin will walk over and go, click on that. What percent are you using that? And he's like, that's only 50% capacity. You need to put in a splitter.
Well, it's a good learning tool for efficiencies. Hey, speaking of learning tools for efficiencies.
So here, and then you put in then where you actually send a lot of the stuff is up a space elevator. So that thing over on the right-hand side there, as he was going through the menus, was like this hulking space elevator that's like going up into the sky then. Dude, all I'm going to say is I just want to take note here and say, when this game first started out, it seemed like a very like sort of pleasant, bucolic, utopian environment. And now what we have is like industrial waste nightmare. This is the game right here. Look at his base.
Oh my God, he's creating look at this. What is there? Can you just put radioactivity directly into the ground? Like, can you just dump it in the water?
Well, look, there he's built pipes, right? Because his coal plant has to be cooled. So then you got to get a water supply and run water pipes to your coal plant.
Yeah.
Oh, it is a blast. It is really cool.
Like, do you produce any waste whatsoever in this game that you have to deal with? Be honest.
So here's the thing. Yeah, Benjamin said that Factorio did have pollution and waste, and you did have to deal with that. And it was like almost
fun, was it?
Exactly. So this game just took it out. But if you want the pure experience, you play Factorio.
Surprise. I'm telling you, dude, this is like I see it from the beginning. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Oh, geez, this is so funny.
It is a blast. It's
People-
amazing. And it's in
people-
early access. This isn't even out yet. They're still, still making it. And it's
What
so
are they selling
polished.
it for? What's it going for?
I think it's like less than $30.
Okay.
I think I got it on sale for 24. It's regularly 30 or something.
Wow.
And I told Benjamin, I'm like, Satisfactory's on sale. So he bought it. Now the two of us are like hooked on it.
Look at this. It starts out all pretty and stuff. Look.
Yeah.
And it's
You look, now he's building his
Oh,
his conveyor belt because he's got to haul that stuff.
right.
And he's
So
got
you
a
found-
double decker conveyor belt.
Dude,
Look at that
he,
thing.
so he found stuff way the hell over there.
Sweet.
And now he's getting
Double-decker
it.
conveyor belt. Yup.
look at that. Wow.
So there's like an optimal like flat area where you can really like take advantage of the land being like accessible here.
Well, and I started on this planet, but Benjamin started on like a forest planet. So he has like different
to cut stuff
challenges
down?
than I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you cut wood down to gather wood for energy, right? Which is why I want to start the coal plant, so I don't have to freaking cut wood anymore.
Dude.
Look at the
Sorry.
coal plants over there. Look at the
Somebody's
smokestack.
gotta like take these guys to court for not including the environment in the gameplay because there's gonna be too many people are gonna run around and go, "What's wrong with industrialization? I do it all the time." And you're like, "Well,
It is.
I-
It is
I
great.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just
in like
kidding.
a week. I think Steam says I have like 14 hours into it. or something.
Nice.
And Benjamin came, looked, he goes, "Damn, you're almost caught up to me." And then I think he played more today.
That's purely a single player experience. Is that the deal?
No, you can go in each other's worlds, right? So it's like Minecraft in that, you
Oh.
could go and help friends build things in Minecraft. You can go to your friend's world and help work on their factory, right?
Do you take stuff from them?
Wow.
I don't know if you can take stuff.
a bunch of
I just
coal
kind of
in
hopped into
place
his
and-
world and kind of ran around a little bit. So we
You
haven't
got that
explored
coal
the
pretty much
multiplayer channel.
surrounded with like some
Can you-
fence.
Can you go there and get iron nuggets from a badger?
They have iron ore. You have to mine
Oh.
iron ore.
Yeah, you just
So it's
don't
kinda
go to
like-
the badger.
go in at 1 a.m. and build.
It's kinda like Animal
all
Crossing.
of his resources out.
Yeah. I think only friends can get into your base because I told Benjamin, I'm like, what if somebody went through and wrecked all your shit like in Minecraft, right? That was like
Yeah.
a heartbreak for kids.
Right.
People go and wreck their stuff.
Welcome
Oh,
to
this
the
is
real
basically-
world, kid.
This is basically high-speed Animal Crossing.
Yeah, or it's like a next gen Minecraft too, or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's. I mean, whatever. If they've got the gameplay down so that it's totally addictive, then you can kind of like turn it into whatever you want. It doesn't have to be all that industrial stuff. It could be all kinds
Yeah.
of different.
no, I mean they're constantly adding stuff.
You could create biomass generators. The whole thing could be themed.
Yeah,
in
and then
some way.
there's another game that's after this one that's almost even more intergalactic space kind of thing. I forget the name now. Anyway, I'll probably play that next. When I play that, I'll show you guys that one.
Cool.
They should title this
But-
game "Assume We All Have Fusion Power."
Yeah.
That's what they should just call it. Like, we have clean energy. It's just there. Don't worry about it. Okay. And there's a lot of it. So just make stuff, please. It's
Mhm.
utopian.
Mhm.
That's not a very catchy title, to be honest.
I don't think that one will take
Assume
off.
we have what? Fusion?
Fusion. Fusion.
Did you, Mark, get a chance to do any playing this week?
Just more.
You were in Witcher and Steam a lot.
Yeah, Blood and Wine. So
Yeah.
I jump on for like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. Like I'll do a quest. Oh, I'll tell you what. The one thing about the Blood and Wine downloadable content, the expansion, there's a scene. It's the first time I've ever played a game where a scene made me react like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that. There's such a cool scene in that expansion pack that it blows you away. So it's
That's
very
awesome.
cool in the storyline, totally unexpected event. And you're like, I know something that nobody else knows, kind of in that scenario.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty cool. And another light goes on when this happens and you're like, holy crap. So there's
That's
a really
cool.
cool scene in the storyline for that expansion pack. And I
Cool.
agree. The expansion pack, now the first one is like, okay, but that second one, Blood and Wine,
Yeah.
man,
That's the
awesome.
one that people consider like one among the best ever. Like
that is
for
just
adventure games.
they knocked it out of the. This is the one that I'm in that just blew me away, and they knocked it out of the park with the storyline. So
when we get in the next segment, we'll have to talk a little bit about the next season of The Witcher because I'm looking forward to that. And well, let's do that. Let's move over to.
I didn't rent that movie.
So let's talk about what we watched, and then we'll mix it with the "What are you looking forward to" segment because we got about 10 minutes left.
All right.
Because most of what I'm looking forward to is stuff to watch. So, anyone catch anything this week? Movies, TV shows, YouTube videos.
caught up on the next episode of WandaVision. That just drives me crazy. They're only like 25 minutes long, if that.
They go fast.
Yeah.
They go really fast. Yeah. So, but that's
still
keeping
good.
my interest.
And then Falcon Winter Soldier now is on deck next. The preview for that looks really good.
Yeah.
And then they just teased Loki and the Star Wars Bad Bunch animation. They announced today that it was going to come out in June. Bad Batch. Yeah. That was coming out in like May or June, like sooner than I thought.
I am hearing a lot of good stuff about the Amazon series that you were talking about, Mark, on the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Creating a huge buzz. And a game coming out too. An Amazon Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, isn't it open world? And again, it's taking place in that time. So like there's nobody in the game that you're gonna know. Except there'll be probably a few characters because Elrond dates back to the Great War and everything else. So,
Careful Amazon Games, they haven't delivered anything yet. Hired a lot of people, thrown a lot of money at it.
But now they've been working on this one for quite a while, and it's kind of their big thing right now. That's why when you were talking about how Amazon was maybe talking about getting out of it, getting out of game development, I was saying I hope they continue with this. And from everything I'm seeing, they are. And in fact, there was some funny stuff going around about another one of these group of people who just, for whatever reason, want to make a stink about they want to nitpick about something, like certain things aren't represented enough. So they go and try to freak out, or one of the guys on the development team posted something 8 years ago on Twitter. So let's, ban this game. And it actually like pumped up the pre-orders like crazy. A bunch of people going, if you're going to complain, I'm going to buy 2 copies. So
that's not GameStop money. Or GameStop money. Time will tell.
I saw that was back up to 65 or something.
Was it? I haven't even looked.
If you still got it, it might be like worth something.
Yeah, if you didn't buy it at $250.
Well, yeah.
So I think that'll be Lotro, Lord of the Rings Online was such a
that was great.
Such a great memory for me of gaming that a new era one would be. And that game still has a pretty thriving community. Yeah. Still a lot of people playing Lord of the Rings Online. Just pretty crazy. That world is massive.
Yeah.
They've done so many expansions to it.
Yeah, you're all the way into Mordor now.
Yeah.
So everything's open.
Yeah. So a new one, with modern technology and all that kind of stuff would be definitely welcome content to play.
Yeah, the one thing I went back to. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh no, go ahead. I was going to talk about a show, but if you want to talk if you still got something on Lotro.
No, I was just going to say the one thing about the old Lotro is it's right out of South Park. That episode where they're just in there killing the boars over and over and over. So the further you go, that's the worst thing about Lotro is the further you kept going in it, that same quest of killing 10 boars just kept happening. Just something else.
It's kind of one of those necessary evils in the MMO deal.
Yeah.
remember Moria was so awesome, but we spent so much time in there that by the end I was like sick of it. I'm like, get me out of Moria. Like, at the time it was like amazing. Like it was.
You gotta see the sky. Oh my
world
god.
building.
Yeah.
Like those watery deep sections that we're in that were all flooded and everything.
Yeah.
Like I have distinct memories of all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the
I
bridge-
played that game in emulation mode, right, with Boot Camp on an old MacBook Pro.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We were using the in-game chat. Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually worked okay.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
I don't think I ever even hooked up with you guys playing this thing.
I don't think you did. It was us
No.
and Manel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played a lot.
And
Did you?
then
Yeah.
We played a
Sydney, and then Sydney played even more after that.
lot.
Sydney played.
That was the
ton.
first MMO I've ever hit the level cap in. Right? I remember that, like
Yeah.
multiple times. Every time the new expansion came out, we'd be like, "What's the next level cap?"
You know what probably happened? You guys were probably like MMO, and I had already seen all my friends go down the World of Warcraft like MMO
Yeah.
like death spiral, and I was like, no, dude, I'm not even gonna start with you guys because it's too crazy.
Yeah.
You're gonna get me like involved in a character that I'm really into, and I'm gonna have to like continue to play so I get better and I get more stuff. And
It's probably a good thing we never did get hooked on WoW at the time because it could have been bad.
Yeah. I played it quite a bit alone, but it was just like here and there. And then I had one little window where I got into a guild that was a guild that a guy I knew personally was in, and he knew most of the other people in the guild personally. They were from the Lansing area. And so I had this one little maybe 4-month stretch where I just played a bunch. I'd come home every day and play for a couple hours to get my character up to speed, and then actually got to experience, we raided once a week for like 3 hours. And that was a lot of fun, like playing your part in a raid group. And, you'd go in and the boss would kick your ass 5, 6, 7 times. And then you finally take it down and everyone's screaming. And then you get your little piece of loot,
Your random
that's,
drop.
That's what was cool in Lotro about being the minstrel, because Kaitis was the minstrel, and that's what got me in on it. It's the healer. And I'll tell you what, when you got up into level, every time I'd log on, just getting pinged left and right, people asking me to come do anything with them because they didn't have a minstrel.
They need the healer.
It was
nobody
the same
ever
thing.
wanted to play it.
No,
It's the same thing in
They were
World
like,
of Warcraft.
yeah.
Like if you go into World of Warcraft and you queue for a random event like a dungeon or one of the looking for group raids, if you're a healer or a tank, you get right in. If you're DPS, you could sit there for 15, 20, 30 minutes waiting to get into a group because it's just so unbalanced.
Yeah, and the thing the thing about being a healer originally when you were in Lotro, like they finally buffed them up so you could actually do some AoE damage and some other stuff. But when we played, you couldn't do your level quests. So if you were a minstrel, 20 minstrel, you could not do a level 20 quest. You couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
You'd get
forgot
killed
about
every
that,
time. I mean, I would
So
say
you always have to join up with other people. That's
or get some help.
Yeah. So now, I mean, if you were to go in now, the minstrel is actually they overbuffed him for a while, and then they had to debuff him again because some of the attacks you got ended up like there's a couple of attacks that you can do that it'll kill anything in one shot. So,
but yeah, cool. That's cool to look back on that and then see what's coming up in the future. So maybe there's an MMO out there that might snag us again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I
think the model has to evolve in some way. It's got to be something different.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you guys have seen Diablo, right?
The Diablo footage.
Yeah, because it's a multiplayer, more like a it's hard to explain. I've been watching a few of the videos on it, but the new Diablo when it comes out.
New Diablo. All right, hang on.
Well, the Diablo 3 was multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
so
out?
this is Diablo 3 has been out for a long time.
Right.
But Diablo 4 is not. They didn't even give a hint at when it was going to be released.
Right.
Because they're still tinkering with all the classes and stuff like that. But Diablo 4 is following the basic premise of Diablo 3 as far as it being like an isometric view and you having classes and fighting through environments and baddies. They're just kind of adding some new elements to it, but it's going to be a real similar game. But Diablo 3 was multiplayer and would have been a ton of fun to play as a group, actually. We just never got around to it. But I'm actually pretty excited to see Overwatch 2 and knowing that they're going to have a pretty elaborate PvE campaign in there. Now it's only going to be open to certain heroes that fit into the story. So maybe you can pick from 6 to 8 heroes like Reinhardt. For those of you guys that never played Overwatch, you don't know what I'm talking about. But right now, if you go into Overwatch and Overwatch right now is primarily 6-on-6, right, Kitus? 6 versus 6.
Yeah.
And so it kind of tries to. You go into the random queue or whatever, or match play or whatever you're doing, and you get teamed up with 5 other people and you're playing against 6 other people. And you can pick from one of, what is there, 40 some characters in there now, each with unique abilities. And so that was, to me,
it's a lot of fun. It is something we could even try to play around with together just for fun. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Benjamin said he heard it's in a good place right now, that the game is actually in a good place.
Yeah. And they, some of the stuff they said at BlizzLine or whatever was that they were going to continue to prop up the Overwatch 1 community. So if they introduce a character in Overwatch 2, they'll launch that character over in Overwatch 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
So Overwatch 1 still has a lot of mileage left on it, but I would think the PvE stuff would be really, really fun. Like you know how good Blizzard is at telling a story and creating AI environments and challenges and stuff like that. So I definitely would want to play that when it came out. So
screenshots look pretty crazy if these are legit.
For Overwatch?
Or which one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still back at Diablo now. Sorry.
Diablo 4? Yeah.
We went off from Diablo to Overwatch and then, but yeah. Huh.
Yeah, and you're probably looking at stuff. You're probably looking at stuff from BlizzLine, which was their BlizzCon this year. Let's do this.
Blizzard releases first 4K in-game Diablo 4 screenshot showcasing art and design, D2 like visual style. Okay, so nothing's animated?
No, it's on screen right now.
I'm sorry. I'm watching it.
And if you played Diablo 3, this looks virtually identical, with the exception of this having a less, I would say, slightly less cartoony color palette and design. But it's isometric health bars fighting things and having all these cool abilities. And
that's cool.
Classes are very customizable, like your abilities and your weapons, and like one run with a class can be completely different from a different run with a class, depending on how you build it.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. So
it is fun.
I played through the story of Diablo 3 a couple of times. And then they had kind of end game content where you could go to certain areas and redo stuff, but it was a little bit different when they had those seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And a season would go live. And then if you did all of the achievements within the season, you would get like an armor set or a weapon or something like that was unique to that season. And they got a lot of mileage out of that game. I mean, there's still people playing it. So.
I think I just heard Diablo 2 Remastered was coming out like on Switch or something.
Yeah, they announced that at Blizz Live as well.
And people were saying Diablo 2 had the better story than Diablo 3, at least from what I read online. So the campaign would be fun.
Yeah. So And one thing that I thought was pretty cool about Overwatch 2 is that in the PvE mode, they are adding like talents. So you can't have these things in the PvP mode because they'd be OP. Like if you're fighting another human player, but if you're just going against, if you're just going against AI stuff. So there's these really cool abilities that I'm going to try to go where they show. So here's like the talent tree. So you can kind of pick and then watch her where she like blows up all those people. And then Genji's got one where his sword will fly down and just chop the crap out of people. There's Mei, and she can like run through and freeze a bunch of people. Reinhardt has a mega smash with his hammer. And I loved Reinhardt. I played him a lot.
That reminds me, saying Mei reminds me of summer camp one year. This middle school kid, somebody said something about Overwatch and everybody got all excited. It was when it was huge. And one of the kids was like, "Can we all just agree that Mei is cancer?"
Mei has cancer?
No, that she is cancer. And he has like a nasally kind of voice. "Can we all just agree that Mei is cancer?"
Wow.
Never stop. I was laughing so hard.
And that Overwatch got real big on the platforms too. Got really big on the the previous gen platform. So, all right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. What are we playing? What are we doing? You got a meeting? What time?
6:00.
So that is going to be in 24 minutes.
Yeah.
How long do you anticipate that will last?
15 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Depending on like what she says, what she wants to talk about, how many comments she's got, whatever. It could be forever. So we'll just have to see.
Okay.
Ping us when you're done. We'll see what time.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah. See you next week.
How do you get out of here?